And your host is Wharf Poe, Dr. Hemmingson. Because it is still Wharf Poe Wednesday, and that means it is time for Dr. Hemmingson's Wednesday Night News of the Weird and the Weirder. Wasn't able to do it last week because I was having some strange, weird audio problems. So we're back, and a couple of people wanted me to redo something I did on The Art of Dreaming with that opening. So I'll open Dr. Hemmingson's News of the Weird with that same little rant, which goes like this. For I looked into the dark and sandy skies, and lo, behold what I saw. And this I attest by my hand and thine ears. The clouds parted at the command of 7 angels with gold trumpets lined with the diamonds of Ganymede. And Gabriel had the biggest and loudest of horns. And upon a dark star being held up by the souls of the iniquitous came the court jester of the one order, World High Council, the prophet of the greenhouse, yielding the reins of an army of sodomites, their spears greased to the brim with the blood of 10,000 Zionists, where I saw him fall upon his prey, the Mormon king and his evil reptilian minions, slaying them all. And with a political bomb he exploded a great hole in the earth, where the flames of hell spew forth like dragon's breath in a maiden's dream. And he smote them with the wave of a hand. Oh, behold the prophet of the greenhouse, changing all reality before him, tossing the Mormon usurpers into the depths of a false democracy, crying to the whole world, my boy stays. I wrote the law. I stepped on the tabernacle of false numbers. I smote and smite and condemn and destroy. And with that the angels sang, and the trumpets trumpeted as the great greenhouse in the sky drew the hijacker into the divine bosom of all of mankind, as all of mankind fell to their knees and gave psalms and honors to the big bean of action. And I give it to the hijacker for changing reality yesterday and today and having Obama win, because I believe him. I really do. So this was an homage for my buddy, my fellow host, my reality changer, the hijacker. Just need him to change the reality of these superstorms. So let's look at some of the weird news. I suppose it's weird of happening around the superstorms. But let me just check one thing first. Let me check something. Hang on. Just checking my levels here. Just leveling out. Leveling all out. It seems like Staten Island has been forgotten in this storm. At least that's what this story from I'm reading here from New York Post, called Staten Island residents say Hurricane Sandy relief effort forgot victims in their borough. Tony Rivera was at his wit's end as he stood handing out food in Hurricane Sandy ravaged Staten Island, where the arrival of FEMA and Red Cross did little to disperse the frustration and anger of residents of the city's forgotten borough. Darn it, I don't have any water to wet my whistle. Where is everyone? Said the emotional Rivera, dean of the New Drops Crossroads Church, as he distributed donated groceries. I've just delivered food. Let me get a Staten Island accent here. I've just delivered food to a lady who has been stranded in her home and 2 children since the storm hit. I was the first she had seen. The storm washed away the steps up to her door, and she had let down a ladder for me to bring up the food up. They left us for dead, blasted Joseph Martinelli, 41, as he went with his fiancée Sherry Rand, 37, to check on her mom in the South Beach houses, where dozens of disabled and elderly residents, some needing electricity for oxygen machines, had been without electricity before a generator was brought up to help power the equipment. They forgot all about Staten Island, Martinelli said. Federal Homeland Security boss Janet Napolitano yesterday visited the borough with FEMA Deputy Administrator Richard Serrano, promising that help was on the way. Before they showed up, infuriated Staten Island City Councilman James Otto took to Facebook to chronicle the plight of those in dire straits. Moved by the pleas, private citizens from New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania loaded up supplies and made their way toward the battered borough, and churches and synagogues organized clothing and food drives. Con Edison crews worked feverishly to restore power, and by late yesterday said that 43,000 customers still had no electricity. Well, this article is 2 days old, so hopefully they got what they needed. Emergency workers said they feared more bodies will surface. Oh, I guess there's bodies floating around. See, retired firefighter and Korean war hero George O'Regan, 79, was killed in a Sandy-related fall in the dark hallway of a New Lane senior houses. More bodies, blah, blah, blah. We don't want to hear about the bodies. We want to keep to... I know this isn't weird news, but it's just that these are things that aren't seem to be making the mainstream media or even the small stream media. Just like the earthquake in Guatemala City yesterday, which was a 7.5. The whole election thing, and little election tidbits, seemed to have overshadowed, some of these things that are going on. I mean, like this, and also this another article here. It says plea for underwear at Staten Island. Staten Island Borough President James Molinaro says the people of this community are in desperate need of fresh underwear. It's like a third world nation, Molina said in a phone interview on Tuesday's Good Day, New York. He says so much other clothing has been donated that they are not accepting anymore. What we need right now is underwear and undergarments for the children and the adults, Molinaro says. We need desperately underwear. Molina says that people can bring underwear to Miller Field on Father Capadonna Boulevard or New Drop Lane. The borough president is very concerned about the storm that is expected to hit the island on Thursday, which is today. There's that other storm coming, which I think may have landed by now. The protection we had at the shoreline is all gone, Molinaro says. A lot of our berms are gone. He says a 5-foot storm surge could create new devastation. The problem that we're having is that there are so many people without electric in homes that are destroyed. They're afraid of looters, and we have to reach them. That's another couple of stories I've seen is of people who say they were in their homes there on Staten Island, and having people breaking into their homes, and these people saying, we're a rescue crew, we're just checking up on you, but they aren't. They were looters. There's looters going into houses. So a lot of people are opting to ride out this new storm coming in, afraid that their homes are going to get robbed. So this is this sort of thing that we don't really expect in the United States. We always hear about this stuff happening in other countries, but here, right here in our home, we're having this stuff. Here we have another story. A Freeport firefighter charged with arson after setting cars on fire while trying to siphon fuel. a Freeport firefighter has been charged with arson after police said he set 2 cars on fire while trying to siphon gas from a fire department vehicle. This is Freeport, New York. This story is coming from CBS New York. Stephen Pena was arrested Monday at a firehouse on Leonard Avenue. Nassau County Police said the 23-year-old Freeport firefighter was using an electric vacuum to illegally siphon gas from a Village of Freeport Fire Department vehicle to his personal car when electricity set the gas on fire. The flames quickly spread to both vehicles. 2 Freeport firefighters suffered minor injuries while trying to put the blaze out, but both cars were totally lost. Pena was charged with arson and is set to be arraigned in Hampstead on Tuesday. And again, this story is a couple days old. On Tuesday. Well, that actually would be next Tuesday, because the courts probably aren't going to be open. But we're getting stories too about gas, about people, I don't know, putting guns out on each other in gas lanes. And here we have another story from CBS New York. Sandy gas woes continue. People trading gas for sex on Craigslist. Long gas station lines and empty gas pumps have plagued drivers across New York and New Jersey. Notice I say that, New Jersey. Since, almost lost the story there. Where'd it go? Since Superstorm Sandy slammed into the East Coast on Monday, blah, blah, blah. Stories of price gouging and fights at gas stations have been commonplace. But now it seems people, men in particular, are finding new ways of taking advantage of gas-seeking tri-state residents. Sex. Men have been taking to the personals on Craigslist, trading gasoline for sex. Some of the ads on New York Craigslist read as follows. What would you do for gas? Male for M for W. 30. Let's help each other, quote unquote. Another ad says gas for sex, male for woman, 35, 5'1", 225 Italian, workout, good looking to hang out. I have 5 gallons of gas. Interesting. I should check. Well, this is the way it's going to be when it gets that way all over across the country. You're going to have sex for gas gangs, the sex for gas market, a black market of sex for fuel. And other things, money, but it depends on whether or not the money's any good. I just heard someone dinging me on chat. Is someone offended? Someone sent me a story? Hey there, hijacker. Yeah, I actually would probably make a good movie set during this storm. Anyway, like I was saying, what's going on over there, and especially as we're going to see it more when the new storm hits and stuff, has been overshadowed by the whole election stuff, and at least in the mainstream media. I mean, there's people over there on the East Coast who are living in a desperate and dire situation, and I know it's not weird news, or maybe it is weird news. Maybe it's weird to many of us who haven't been affected. The next thing, I'm sitting over here in Southern California, in Los Angeles, and probably the next thing is going to be the big earthquake over here, and we're going to be in similar situation here on the West Coast after the big, huge earthquake devastates, Northern California and Oregon or Southern California. It's just something to think about. So send underwear to Staten Island, and if you're there on the East Coast and You're looking for a date and you got some gasoline? Go to Craigslist. So, let's see what else is going on here. I got a couple stories I was going to read last week. Again, I couldn't get on the air last week for my internet down in Mexico. It just wasn't happening, man. Once again, this is WARFPO Wednesday. Did have the Art of Dreaming where Lorian Fenton and I were talking about black helicopters and super soldiers and psyops operations from the government. And now we're here at Dr. Hemmingson's Wednesday night news of the weird and the weirder. And I believe on the Second Foundation tonight, Seth Michaels and I are going to talk about Aleister Crowley that I wanted to talk about last Wednesday, but couldn't. Had bad connection, and hopefully we'll get into that, or maybe it'll be the next show. I'm not sure. We'll see when Seth comes on, and we'll see if I'm awake. I actually almost didn't do this weird news hour. I zonked out, and I woke up. I heard the station break, and thought maybe I'd missed the news weird hour, but I had 1 minute to get on, so hey. But here's the story I wanted to read last week and did get to, called something about a man who loses his leg from a falling crucifix. And this is out of Newburgh, New York. This is before the storm hit. This story is from October 26th, but I thought it might fit into the weird stuff that goes on. David Jimenez believed his devotion to a crucifix was responsible for his wife being cured of cancer. Well, the crucifix fell on him, crushing one of his legs. And as CBS 2's John Slattery reported Friday, the leg had to be amputated. Jimenez sees tragic irony in losing his leg to a crucifix he had prayed to. The crucifix had been outside the Church of St. Patrick's in Newburgh. For months, the 45-year-old pizza worker would stop and pray at the crucifix that his wife would be cured of ovarian cancer. And she was. David attributed the cure to his devotion to that cross, Jimenez attorney Kevin Kutton said. Because of that, Jimenez said he got permission to clean the crucifix, which was long neglected. But in doing so, the statue dislodged and toppled onto him, throwing him down in the parking lot, crushing his right leg, Kitson said. The attorney for Jimenez, who would not allow his client to speak, said the 600-pound statue was supported by a single screw in the base. The screw was useless. The screw is useless. It supported no anchoring system, Kitton said. The church's pastor told CBS 2's Slattery by phone that parishioners collected food and some $7,000 for the Jimenez family, but Kitson said the insurance company for the archdiocese has been less than forthcoming. So the injured man is suing. Jimenez, who believes in the power of prayer, is now praying for a judgment, not from the higher authority, but from a civil court. Jury selection in the case is scheduled to begin next Wednesday, which means that would have been when the storm hit in that area. So who knows if that case is going on or not. But, it's just a situation of be careful what you pray to and what you pray for. Well, let's see what else is going on. Anyway, we got this other little ditty. Man, 23, arrested after flashing his breast implants at fellow Walmart shoppers. A Pennsylvania man was arrested yesterday after flashing his breast implants at fellow Walmart shoppers. Jeremy Owens, 23, was busted following the bizarre incident at the retailer of Lackawanna County. Owens was apprehended after he left the store and boarded a municipal bus from which he had been to be forcibly removed
by the police. After being cuffed and placed in a cruiser, Owens banged his head against the vehicle's window, apparently cutting himself in the process, which then allowed Owens to allegedly spit blood at the officers. A Walmart manager told cops that a customer reported that he was flashed by a female customer. When the manager located the female within the store, she was yelling that she was the best whore in town, according to a probable cause affidavit. Subsequently, officers noted the quote-unquote female was identified and found out to actually be a male named Jeremy Christopher Owens. Owens, who calls himself Jamie, was jailed for aggravated assault, drug possession, resisting arrest, making terroristic threats, and indecent exposure. Yesterday's caller crime 2 weeks after Owens was busted for lying to cops about the purported knife-point abduction of a female friend. Owens was also nabbed in March following a disturbance at a donut shop. He was accused of spitting on 2 female customers. And now he has breast implants. What doctor gave him the breast implants? Well, I guess if you got the money and you're a guy and you want breast implants, it's free will, freedom of expression. I guess no doctor would be held accountable for doing that. Well, onwards. Should I read this one story? Yeah, why not? It is news. Woman 29 arrested after being spotted masturbating inside a Starbucks in Florida. A woman who was spotted masturbating in a Starbucks was arrested yesterday after Florida cops searched her purse and found a pipe with cocaine residue. Police were summoned to the Bradenton business by the staff at Starbucks regarding a female that was in their lobby and was doing something naughty. When an officer questioned the woman, Jennifer Perinian, she reported that she was waiting to go to a local hospital. A cop offered her a ride at the hospital, but asked to first check her purse, to which Perinian agreed. The officer subsequently discovered a glass stem, quote-unquote glass stem. That's one of those things that you smoke crack out of. And the 29-year-old Perinian's purse had tested positive for cocaine residue. Well, don't smoke crack in a Starbucks, and because it's going to make you do things in the public that will get you arrested. Well, here's a story here. Tripping dealers said dinos were chasing him. And maybe they're tracing him too. Meet Edward A. Kirk III. The 19-year-old suspected drug dealer was tripping so hard on LSD yesterday morning that he, A, thought his Indiana home was filled with aliens, B, believed dinosaurs were chasing him, C, invited cops into his apartment to peruse his substantial stash, D, told officers getting high was great and the whole world should trip, E, continued to talk and ramble on about distributing LSD for money, F, explained that selling acid was doing the people's work. Kirk was arrested by Greenwood Police Department officers who responded to his home following a report that a man was running through a nearby parking lot babbling about aliens and dinosaurs, according to a police affidavit. When questioned by cops, Kirk said he was under the influence of LSD and had taken 30 hits of acid. 30 hits of acid? Is this guy nuts? 30 hits of acid is, well, I guess it depends how strong it was, but all you need is 1 or 2. Unless his tolerance was up high, he was a dealer. You take the 30 hits of acid, of course you're going to think dinosaurs are chasing you. There's a link to the police affidavit, because I got to read this thing. Let's see what the police report says. The police report here says, You know what? I'm even gonna link this in the chat because some of you might think I'm making it up. But hey, this is a strange universe, and I don't even work here. I'll talk about strange universe in a minute. Let's go back to this affidavit. Arrest affidavit of probable cause, state of Indiana, county of Johnson. Detective Sergeant Eric Klinkowski of the Greenwood Police Department swears or affirms that he believes and has probable cause to believe that on or before November 1st, 2012, Edward A. Kirk, a white male, 5'9", 135 pounds, DOB 12693, who resides at 803 Kings Mill Road, apartment 113, Greenwood, Indiana, did commit the crimes of count 1, possession of cocaine or narcotic drug, Class B felony, count 2, possession of controlled substances, Class C felony, maintaining a common nuisance, Class D felony, reckless possession of paraphernalia, Class A misdemeanor, possession of marijuana, Class A misdemeanor, disorderly conduct, Class B misdemeanor. So they're charging this guy with 6 counts. In support of your affidavit's assertion of probable cause, your affidavit bases his belief affiant. The affiant, an affiant is one swearing to an affidavit. So in support of your affiant's assertion of probable cause, your affiant bases his belief on the following attending facts and circumstances: that on November 1st, 2012, I went to 803 Kings Mill Road on a possible drug overdose and a disturbance. I was requested to the scene by Lieutenant David Mertz to respond to the residence of Edward Kirk. The property is located in the Palo Run apartment complex, blah, blah, blah. Officer Rich Kelly reported the following to me. Officer Ek Gunan and I responded to the address on the report of a white male in the common entryway. It was reported this male was talking about aliens and had been seen running through the parking lot screaming dinosaurs were chasing him. Officers Gunan and Rick Ek arrived just before I had and were speaking to the subject, who was identified as Edward Kirk, inside apartment 113. Kirk stated he was under the influence of LSD and had taken 30 hits of acid. It was quite clear Kirk was under the influence. Without prompting, Kirk said he had thousands of hits of acid in a box on the floor. Kirk invited officers to look in the box. Officer Gunan opened the cardboard box and saw a set of digital scales. I observed the box contained numerous folded sheets of aluminum foil. Officer Gunan opened one of the foil packages, and we both observed several pieces of blotter paper inside just one of the packages. While speaking to Kirk in his bedroom, I observed several cactus plants growing in a pot next to the bed. When asked, Kirk stated the cactus contained mescaline and was similar to peyote. Your affiant observed several hand-rolled cigarettes and roaches in the bedroom, and the apartment smelled like burnt marijuana. On the desk in the bedroom, your affiant observed several lines of a white powdery substance and a rolled-up paper currency sitting next to the powdery substance. Your affiant observed white powdery substance in plastic vials on the desk. Next to the white powder, your affiant observed several individually packaged blue pills. I observed in plain view several items in the bedroom which indicated Kirk's involvement in the manufacturing and distribution of narcotics. Your affiant observed sitting in a chair several sheets of blotter paper. Your affiant observed several empty plastic vials and a bag of empty capsules. In plain view, I observed a stack of unused USPS priority mail flat rate boxes and the recipient for delivery confirmation. So basically the guy was selling LSD through the mail. So the guy's on 30 hits of acid, was snorting coke or speed, smoking pot, and looks like maybe even took ecstasy. Yeah, you're going to see dinosaurs chasing you around after doing all of that many drugs. 30 hits of acid, that's insane. That will make you insane. At most, in my sordid past, I have probably taken maybe 7 hits, but we won't go into that. Someone sent me a link here. Let's take a look at it. It's coming from the LA Times. And it says page not found. I think I have to be a subscriber to the LA Times to get that link. But the looks like the story says LA, India, China, UFOs, something about UFOs. I'll get into some UFO stuff if I have time. Okay, onwards and forwards. Onwards, you scalawags, all of you. All of you. Here's one. Something about nude photos. Let's talk about nude photos. Verizon duo stole woman's naked photos. Images lifted when victim went to store for a new phone. An employee at a Verizon wireless store in Florida illegally copied naked photos contained on the phone of a female customer and then shared the images with a fellow male employee, according to police who yesterday hit the duo with felony charges. Cops learned of the photo heist when one of the employees last month showed the explicit photos to a male customer who happened to know the woman and alerted her to what had transpired at the business. The woman told cops she had gone to the Verizon outlet in Bartow to replace a damaged phone. When their worker Joshua Stewart, 24, provided her with a new phone and assisted her with the transfer of data from her old device. The victim, a waitress at a restaurant near the Verizon outlet, told investigators she was under the impression the data would be transferred to the new telephone and erased from her old device. On October 18th, a male acquaintance of the woman went to the store to upgrade his phone. The witness told cops he was being helped by Stewart when the employee asked him if he knew any of the bartenders or waitresses at the neighborhood restaurant. Stewart then explained that a waitress had recently been in the store and left banging pictures on her telephone. After initially trying to locate the images on a desktop computer, Stewart asked co-worker Gregory Lampert, 26, for his phone. Stewart then handed the witness the phone, which contained numerous pictures of a female in various stages of undress. The man recognized the woman in the 20 or so photos, but left the store without mentioning it to Stewart or Lampert. In a subsequent interview with Bartow Police Department officers, the woman reported that the photos were very private in nature and several depicted her nude breasts and vagina. When cops later executed a search warrant at the Verizon location, they seized Lampert's laptop computer and 2 cell phones. An examination of the devices revealed pictures taken from the victim's telephone. During questioning, Lampert confessed that he received copies of the stolen photos from Stewart. He also copped to stealing nude photos from a second client's phone. Well, if you're going to take your phone in, it goes without saying to not leave nude photos on there. Like 20, 30 years ago, we'd hear stories like this of, when you take in your photos to be developed in stores and then they're left out in public for people to pick up, in the store, that people would have nude photos in there, and those photos would be stolen. I mean, just, if you're going to do stuff like that, you got to be cautious because, there are people out there who will do that. I'm not exactly sure what these guys will be charged with. I don't know, theft. Can you say a photo is property? They didn't go out and sell the photos. They didn't try to blackmail the woman. They weren't illegal photos. Was she? It would more or less, I would think, fall under a sort of civil matter. That she would sue them, or maybe Verizon. But did she have an expectation of privacy? This is something for the lawyers to deal with, I guess. Interesting, but a cautionary tale of the digital age, and how some, if you're going to do things like that, you got to keep them some are safe, some are private, and not. I'll let people out there get a hold of them and do stupid stuff like that. Let's see what this story is. This was something I was going to say. Woman who drove on sidewalk must wear idiot sign. This is coming from the Associated Press in Cleveland, Ohio. A woman caught on camera driving on a sidewalk to avoid a Cleveland school bus that was unloading children will have to stand at an intersection wearing a sign warning about idiots. Court records show a Cleveland Municipal Court judge on last week ordered a 32-year-old woman, Sharia Harden, to stand at an intersection for 2 days next week. She will have to wear a sign saying, "Only an idiot drives on the sidewalk to avoid school buses." The judge ordered her to wear the sign from 7:45 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. both days. Harden's license was suspended for 30 days, and she was ordered to pay $250 in court costs. Messages seeking comments were left at a telephone listing for Harden and her attorney's office. I don't know what that is. Can the court orders really order you to do stuff like that? I guess they can. Municipal courts. So she has to stand out there for 1 hour for 2 days, wearing a sign that she's an idiot. And it goes without saying that she is an idiot. Let's see what other story we got here. This story is coming out of the Detroit News for Oakland County. Southfield voter appears to die, then asked, "Did I vote?" Southfield Township. Sometimes dead men really do get to vote. Ty Houston, 48, a home care registered nurse, was tolling on his absentee ballot Monday afternoon when things got strange at township offices. "I was filling out the form when an elderly couple sitting at a nearby table," said Houston on Tuesday. His wife, who was helping him fill out the ballot, asked him a couple of questions, but he didn't respond. "She screamed for help, and I went over to see what I could do." Houston laid the victim on the floor and went to work. "He was dead," Houston said. "He had no heartbeat and wasn't breathing. I started CPR and left after a few minutes. He revived and started breathing again. He knew his name and his wife's name." What happened next astounded Houston and the victim's wife. The first question he asked was, "Did I vote?" Dumbfounded, the man's wife told him that whether he voted was the least of their concerns. She told him, "Your life is my concern," Houston said. According to Houston, the man, who had a tracheotomy in his throat, gulped down a few more breaths and then told her they are only two things that are important to him: that I love you and that I finish what I came here to do, vote, which he had done. But it doesn't say who he voted for. Well, if he resurrected like that, and Hijacker was altering reality everywhere, it must have been for Obama. Hallelujah. Miracles do happen. So, one man dies and comes back to life while casting a vote. And we have another story here that says pregnant mom casts ballot for Obama while in labor. This is out of Thornton, Illinois. Fox News Channel there of Chicago. A very pregnant Galicia Malone was so determined to participate in her first presidential election that she took a few cleansing breaths and put those labor pains right out of her mind until her vote was cast. Cook County Clerk David Orr reports that Malone, 21, started having pains in her back and pelvic area around 3 a.m. Tuesday. By the time she drove from her mother's house in Rickton Park, where she stayed the last night, and New Life Church precinct in Thornton, the pains were 5 minutes apart. "This is my first baby, a girl, and I wanted to make a good impression," Malone said. "I want to have a story to tell her." Malone, whose due date wasn't until November 10th, was en route to South Suburban Hospital when we caught up with her. "The pains are pretty steady, but my doctor says to think of it as getting ready to give life," she said. Though she is against abortion, Malone of Dalton said her belief that women should have the right to make their own decisions prompted her to vote for President Barack Obama. I just agree with more of his policies than with Mitt Romney, she said. I grew up on Sesame Street and PBS, she said. He wants to cut that. What will my daughter grow up to? Yeah, what will happen when Obama and Michelle Obama kill Sesame Street? And there was the 1 million Muppet March on Washington last week, which wasn't quite a million Muppets. It was more like a couple of thousand. What does Obama have against the Muppets? So, I found this interesting article on a website called Mommy Noir. 7 dangerous new teen trends. Let me post that in the chat here, so you can follow along if you so desire. I see there's another link to that story. Let's see if it pops up this time. I will get to this. Actually, let's before we talk about the new teen dangers. It's this story from the LA Times. On India-China border, reports of UFOs skyrocket. Mysterious yellow spheres that appear to lift off from the Chinese side are causing more embarrassment than fear as India struggles to figure out what they are. Adding a litany of issues besetting neighboring nuclear rivals China and India, ranging from border disputes to the Dalai Lama to trade deficits, is a new one. UFOs. Over 100 UFOs seen along China border, said headline in Tuesday's Times of India. India troops guarding the often tense 2,100-mile border between the two Asian giants say that the objects seen in recent months are yellow spheres that appear to lift off from the Chinese side, slowly traversing the sky for 3 or 5 hours before disappearing. Indian military officials have reportedly ruled out Chinese drones, 99 of which reportedly were documented during the first 10 months of 2012, or low-orbit satellites. The acronym HABI... I seem to have just gotten knocked off. I got knocked off the air. Somehow I got knocked off the air on my laptop, so I am now on my iPad. I don't know what happened. Maybe they didn't want me talking about UFOs in India or something. I don't know. This is really strange. I got knocked off. Well, okay, so the acronym Happy Times of India says that the UFO sightings have stumped the DRO, NTRO, ITB, or whatever, and other Indian military organizations. If they weren't stumped, this would presumably make them IFOs, if not confused with ULOs, short for unidentified luminous objects. That's what other Indian news
and organizations have dubbed the objects, giving the glow they reportedly give off at day and by night. In September, the Indian Army reportedly deployed a mobile ground-based radar unit and a spectrum analyzer to assess what was dancing around up there. As the troops watched the light show, however, the machines picked up zilch, according to India Today magazine. The Army reportedly aimed one of its drones in a UFO's direction, but the object disappeared. Astronomers were also called in. According to local media, they saw some of the same unexplained objects but gave up after 3 days, concluding that they were non-celestial. Indian border troops report nearly 100 sightings over the last 3 months. The lack of answers has caused more embarrassment than fear in military circles, India Today reported. If there have been some sightings, I wouldn't be surprised if it's technology demonstration by the Chinese, and the Chinese are very advanced, said Lieutenant General B.S. Jaswal, former Northern Army commander. During my time, we didn't have such sightings. So are these UFOs? This is a long article. There's no need to continue, because we get the gist of it. Maybe it's the Arcturians, or who knows who it could be. I don't even know. I'm assuming I'm on the air. It looks like it says I am. Well, let's see. Interesting to say the least. Very confounding, Captain Kirk. I think maybe my laptop got kicked off the internet. Trying to figure out what the hell happened here. So, if any of you in the chat, do you know? Can you hear me? Am I online? I'm gonna continue going on, assuming that I'm on there. I don't hear anything off my laptop. I think my laptop. Let's see here. I think my laptop went offline. Yes, indeed, that seems to be the situation, but I am online on my iPad. So, onwards, forwards, marching Christian soldiers and all that. I only have a few minutes left, so let's return to this one story I wanted to do, which I'm not going to be able to do if I'm offline. Well, 7 new dangers of new teen trends. I was talking about this with Lorian on the Art of Dreaming. One of them is eye dosing. It says, in this age of technology, it's not surprising that entrepreneurs are trying to create a way to get high online. The result is a phenomenon called eye dosing, which attempts to alter consciousness via sound. The internet craze has teens plugging in their headphones to listen to downloadable MP3s that are said to have effects akin to getting high on actual drugs. There are various tracks designed to elicit the same high as specific drugs. Anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes long, the tracks consist of binaural beats in which the tone of one frequency is played into the right ear and a slightly different frequency is played in the left ear.
When some parents have expressed concern that the trend could lead to future use of other narcotics, researchers say that eye dosing is in itself harmless. Well, I want to find some of this eye dosing music. I'm kind of fascinated by the idea. In terms of mind control, if this sort of music is actually a sort of MK Ultra sort of thing put out there.